If you aren't evolving in the markets, you will get left behind. It's a guarantee in life that if you aren't growing, you're dying. So why would that be any different in the markets? Where you are literally competing with the next person over and over and over again. So for anyone who doesn't know, the markets are a zero-sum game, meaning when you are winning, someone is losing. So when your take profit is hit, someone's stop loss is hit. So you are always competing with the next person to become better and better and better, which is why you always have to be improving or you're gonna get beat by the next person. So if you're not fine-tuning your strategy, you're not reviewing your journal, you're not doing the upkeep that is required, you're gonna get left behind in the dust completely. So what might be working for you right now is honestly going to need some tweaks later. And that's something that I realized this year, okay? Not to say that you're gonna have to jump strategies completely, but you probably are going to have to make some tweaks because the market is evolving, the market is changing. And like I said, we have to evolve with it. Otherwise we are going to be left behind. You have to ask yourself, if the market is constantly evolving and constantly changing, why wouldn't you have to evolve? Why wouldn't you have to evolve and continue to get better, right? That's why this game is so hard and difficult, because a lot of people get set into their ways. They make their strategy kind of their identity, and then they stick with it. And by strategy, I mean they marry a certain entry time frame, they marry, a certain bias, they only do this, they only do that. When in reality, the market requires you to evolve, to continue to grow and adapt with it. I'm going to talk about this in this video, and I think you guys are going to get a ton of value. I experienced this myself this year, like I said, and I overcame it. And I'm super, super pumped to share this with you. The first half of the year for me was pretty much on easy mode. My strategy was working unbelievable. I was getting all the retracements that I wanted. I had my breaks to structure. And for a lot of the time, I enter on the M5 time frame. It works very, very well for me. Price was breaking, retracing, I was entering, and everything was great. And then since about July, it's like it changed overnight. The opportunities became fewer and further between, even though my analysis was still great week after week. I was still calling areas from here to here or here to here every single week, but I was not getting involved because price wasn't retracing on my entry time frame anymore. And honestly, in moments like this, I handled it perfect. And I recommend you guys do this as well. When you notice a sudden change up in the markets, whether it be the price delivery or anything like that, you can see a change. The best bet is to just sit still. Sit still, don't execute, and wait and see if it gets fixed. Because there's times where price delivery may be off because of certain, geopolitical things going on in the world, or there's going to be an actual change. So what I did, I sat pretty, I just sat there, I protected my capital, and for about 3 months of this year, I pretty much didn't make any progress. Now, I didn't make any trading progress. I parked my money. I was traveling Asia. As you guys know, if you guys are new to this channel, I went to Asia, got really sick. It's like life forced me to slow down, and I was able to come back from that experience ready to go, right? And when I came back, I realized that things were the same, okay? I'm still calling these moves. These moves are still happening, but the entry just isn't there. I'm getting left behind. And I started to think to myself, okay, maybe I actually need to make a change now. Maybe I need to make that change. Let me take a minute to introduce to you one of the top new prop firms in the industry, Think Capital. Think Markets, a fully regulated broker, has entered the prop space. With over 15 years of broker experience, this is massive for us traders. With up to $600K in capital to manage, $5K to $300K accounts, it gives us the perfect resources to succeed. Another bonus is they offer to USA clients. So anyway, I went over my data, I reviewed everything, and I realized the change I needed to make. I made that change, and now everything has been amazing since. So it's important to park. It's important to sit and wait if things are gonna change. And if not, you have to make a change. You have to make a tweak. And that tweak is gonna come from your data. Like I said to you guys, I was reading everything great. I was still catching the moves, analyzing the moves. It's not like my analysis was wrong. It's just I wasn't getting the entry. So I had to change something up and now I'm getting the entry. The point is, look at your data and there's gonna be tweaks you find that you can make to improve your trading when times like this happen. Now remember at the very beginning of the video, I talked about how if you aren't growing, you're essentially dying. What I mean is if you aren't trying to be better in any way, shape or form, you're not trying to grow in any part of your life in any way, shape or form, then essentially all you're doing is dying, right? Because each day, each minute that goes by, we're getting older. And if you're not doing something to improve with that time, then the only thing left is you are just slowly dying. I heard this quote before years ago, and this honestly changed my life. It changed my life with what I did with my time, to have time to allocate to this and this and this, and ultimately helped me become the best trader I possibly can be, because I'm way more efficient with everything that I do because of that. I know that if a day goes by and I didn't progress, then all I did that day was slowly die. And it's a truth that you just have to come to terms with. You know what I mean? And that's why I say all the time, let's be 1% better every single day, because it's those small incremental changes that add up to big results. So the exact same thing is true for the markets. If you're not growing, you're dying. There's going to be times where the market has a shock where it changes things. I myself have experienced 3 of these things now. So I've experienced the COVID markets when that happened, and that was crazy, just an insane amount of volatility. I've experienced when Russia invaded Ukraine. I actually was in a trade when that happened. I remember I was in, I think it was GJ short or EU short, and I got slipped like 3% of my FTMO, risking half. I literally was in a trade when they invaded. My stop loss just flew off. It went to outer space to see Elon Musk. Like, it was crazy. So I experienced that. Okay, the markets were way different after that. And then now I'm experiencing Trump in here with the tweets and all that stuff and the volatility and the tariffs and all that stuff. It's a whole different ballgame. You know, I'm sure a lot of you traders have noticed the markets have been different this year than last year. And I find they always do evolve. There's always a change. There's always a small change, because each of those events that I have been dealt with, that probably a lot of you have been dealt with as well, I've had to make tweaks to my trading plan. And it doesn't have to be the craziest tweak in the world. It doesn't mean you have to go change your strategy or do this and that. A lot of the time, it's just a small tweak. So for me, it was the entry time frame that I was using. I wanted to be a little bit more dynamic with it, because that allows me to get in on the move that I am analyzing. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But at least I'm in the move instead of seeing these moves happen over and over again. It might be waiting for an extra confirmation. It might be waiting for an extra liquidity sweep. Like when I first started trading, you know, SMC or liquidity concepts or anything like that, like I use now, supply and demand, a lot of the time extremes used to work very, very well. So GJ, GU, you throw an order on the extreme and you would most likely get a reaction. Okay, so that was something. Then the market shifted and you're seeing a lot more traps. You're seeing a lot more liquidity sweeps. And that is something that I had to put into my trading and wait for those things to happen before I get involved. Now, it involves a lot more patience, but my win rate's much higher. It's much easier in my psychology. And I'm just very, very grateful that I made these adjustments. The secret is you have to be journaling. You have to be self-aware to make these adjustments, because if you just make the same mistake over and over again, or you simply just marry this idea of trading, whether it be you're an ICT trader, a supply and demand trader, or support resistance, whatever it is, we're all traders at the end of the day. We have our confluences that we like to use, and we just go off of that. You know what I mean? And that's where it can be dangerous sometimes, because we marry that idea of ourselves. We marry that, no, I am a support resistance trader. No, I am a liquidity trader. You know what I mean? When at the end of the day, all we're doing is being traders. We're traders. We're trying to withdraw money from the markets consistently. That's our job at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what title you want to give yourself. Okay? I heard JCap talk about this in a video before, and honestly, it was very, very enlightening. You have to make adjustments if you want to continue to grow in this market. And what's working so well for you right now might not be working so well for you in the future. And that's okay, because you make a tiny little tweak and you're back to crushing it. Where people go wrong is they marry that idea and they don't learn. They're not self-aware enough. But if you guys want to make it in this game, you guys and girls, you have to be self-aware. You have to be auditing yourself every single day, every single week, going over what you can do right, you know, what you've been doing right, what you've been doing wrong. You have to be able to do that, because if you don't, the markets will evolve. The people you are competing against will get better, right? They will get better, and you will be left behind thinking, oh man, this sucks, or oh, it's the market's fault. You know what I mean? It's never the market's fault. We always have to evolve with it. The market is always right, and it's the greatest teacher, honestly. This won't be the last shift in the markets, I'm sure. I'm sure everyone will get used to Trump Daddy in the markets, and then there will be something else eventually. There's always going to be something else. But I will say this, after every chaotic thing, like the Ukraine war, when that happened at the very beginning, when COVID happened and this stuff, it gets better. everything starts to get penciled in. The little adjustments, you're more aware of them, and then everything gets better again until that next shape up, okay? So just be ready for that, be prepared for that, and I think you are going to have a lot easier time, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this provided a ton of value for you all. If it did, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're new, drop some comments. And one thing I'm gonna say, background's gonna be a little bit different moving forward. I got some stuff coming and I'm excited to show you guys. So I'm gonna shut the video off there. And what do I say at the end of every single video? Let's be 1% better every single day. Take care.